This is here at AirVenture 2010. This is Flight Design's latest model, but it's actually a step in a different direction for the company. This company has always made all carbon fiber airplanes. This one's an all metal airplane. It has the name MC, and that's standing for metal concept, which is a term that comes out of Europe, but it means that it's an all metal airplane. Now, of course, it's got some fiberglass components on it, the wheel pants, the nose cowl, and such as that. But all the wing surfaces, all the fuselage, tailplane and all metal airplane. It's a little bit less expensive for the company to make, and therefore they've got a really attractive price point on this. It's below $100,000 base price for the MC.
Now, are they still using the Rotax engine to power that though?
Yep, they still use in fact, it's so much like the MC, the CTLS. As you look down over here, you see a CTLS in the background. They both have the same wingtip treatment. They're very similar in many ways, so they do use the same engine. It uses a very similar panel inside, it's got the Rotax 912, and it's available either with the 80 or the 100 horsepower. Almost everybody seems to pick the 100, but it is available both ways, and that helps. It keeps its price point down a little bit too, of course. But again, a 3-blade prop. Performance is very similar. It's not quite as sleek and fast as the CTLS, so it probably loses a few knots, but not much. But the inside of this thing is where it's really fun, because this is one of the widest airplanes in the whole LSA space.
So then we were talking a little bit about metal construction. They've probably introduced that because of the flight school environment and so on and so forth. People in the U.S. are used to working in metal.
Well, that's true. People all over the world, actually, so it's not even just a U.S. phenomenon, but we've had metal airplanes since airplanes started flying almost. As soon as we made the transition from all fabric covered, metal became the choice. So we know a lot about metal. Mechanics know a lot about it. We know how it fatigues. There's a lot of reasons why we feel, many pilots anyway, feel more comfortable with metal than fiberglass or carbon fiber. Those materials are relatively new in the aviation world, although they've been around plenty long enough to be proven. But yes, it's an easier repair job, and so imagine in a flight school you've got students have to make mistakes in order to learn. That means they're going to bang things occasionally, and when that happens, a school doesn't want that airplane to be down long. So metal is a fast, well-known way of getting an airplane back in the air. These flight schools are doing 50 to 100 hours a month on these airplanes. Having it sit on the ground for repairs for a couple of months can be a deal killer. So they really embrace this airplane.
And I understand that they've done some reinforcement with metal in the cockpit area as well.
That's true, Dave. It's not just an all carbon fiber shell. Now, that's a very strong system on those carbon fiber airplanes. They call it a safety cell, and it's brute. It can really hold some impact. God forbid, but that does happen in airplanes once in a while. This one inside here, you can see some structure up here. There's a tube that runs across here. There's a tube right over my head that I'm hanging on. They have some black straps on them. That happens to be the Vrs Attachment Straps. That's why you can't see the tube so well. This airplane, as with the CT, as with the SW before it, all comes standard with a Vrs parachute system. So of course they accommodate that, but that's especially easy to do in an airplane that has a steel cage. So replacing that really strong but expensive carbon fiber safety cell is a welded steel, and this is some very big and strong stuff here. You can't tell in your camera eye, but this is somewhere probably about inch outside diameter steel, or maybe a metric equivalent to that, but it's really heavy duty stuff. There's one behind me as well, you can see right over my back. And back here, just as with the CT introduced by the CTLS, there's a whole hat rack area back here. There's a luggage area. I'm reaching back in here now. I can't even reach the back of this thing. I think you can probably put some golf clubs back there. Not that you do that in a school environment. This big thing in the center here, that's the parachute. It's where the parachute is housed. It goes out the top. The handle for that is located right here between the seats. You can see it by my hand.
Now, you mentioned with the width of the cockpit. You're right. I mean, I've got a telephoto here to see to the other side.
That's right. It's a great big cockpit. I believe the number, and the door's not even bubbled out that much. It's just that wide. I think it's in the neighborhood of almost 52 inches, which makes it something like 13 inches wider than a Cessna 172. Everybody on the planet, I think, has been in a 172, and they seem all right, but this is quite a bit wider than that. So a lot of room. Two big guys in here, no problem at all. But they got this funny little ball down here on the ground, or on the, not on the ground, but on the floor of the airplane. This gives you lumbar support. So this seat that's in here, this nice leather covered seat that they've got in here, they come with fabric as well, leather's an option. But right in the lumbar area here, you just take this little bulb in your hand, pump it up, and you start getting some more lumbar support. For me and for many pilots, that's real important. Let's have a look at the panel now too.
again, it just looks like a space shuttle when you look at the consoles on these.
Well, think about what the use for it is here. We talked about the flight school environment and the repairability of it thanks to the metal, and that's true. But look at the loaded panel in here. This is the Garmin G3X system. 2 big screens over here, and they display everything. Dynon has a lot of really nice equipment too. Garmin are the people that make certified equipment, and indeed what's in here can be used for IFR, filing for IFR and IFR training very well. Now that's very important to a flight school. A lot of these schools are looking at these things and going, wow, even equipped this way. They're selling this particular airplane right here. I think this has got about 100 hours on it or something. They're selling this one for $139,000, but with a panel that in a regular GA airplane with certified stuff, the panel alone would be half of that. So you're getting a lot of value out of this airplane. You don't have to load it this way, and for its base price at about, I think, $98,000, you don't get all of this, of course. You do get some nice equipment in it. It does come standard with glass on one side. That is a glass instrument on one side. But when you load it up this way, for a pilot that has the skills, the instrument training or something, or for a flight school that wants to train with this kind of equipment, so that when you get into another airplane, you get the Garmin 530 right here. This is in an awful lot of GA airplanes. So you train in this airplane, lower fuel cost, lower acquisition cost, you're all ready to go to whatever airplane you may want to buy if this one isn't your cup of tea.
And what kind of control system to use in it? It's dual controls?
It's a dual control. This is just like the CTLS again. This particular one, if you put your camera down here, you can see these nice shiny rods. These are the rudder pedals down here. I'm moving them just a little bit. They got them all secured here for the wind and whatnot. But this does not have rudder brakes. It has a center, here's the throttle, and here's the brake handle for it. And that's what operates the brakes on this. Now they are retrofittable with toe brakes if you want that, but that's an option and it's not really necessary on this airplane. Otherwise, complete dual joysticks, nicely leather covered again, push to talk button on top. And this airplane has just a single axis control. The CTLS has 3-axis trim on it. I said control, I meant trim. And this airplane doesn't do that. There's some things they need to take off if you're going to make an airplane a little less, but it has all it needs. I flew this airplane a couple of weeks ago with the national sales manager, and it's a really nice flying little airplane.